FBI questioning former NFL quarterback Brett Favre in a Mississippi welfare case. Favre's attorney confirming that to NBC News. It's all part of a massive investigation into alleged misuse of tens of millions of dollars meant to go to needy families in America's poorest state. Here's NBC's Justice and Intelligence correspondent, Ken Delanian.
You know, you have to make a choice whether you want to pay your light bill or whether you want to put food on the table.
Tamara Edwards raised 4 children on her own in Mississippi, applying for welfare benefits just once for childcare while she worked. Each year, Mississippi gets $86 million in welfare money from the federal government, though the state rejects 90% of those who apply, including Edwards.
When I reapplied, I was not able to be on it again because they told me that they didn't have the fundings for it.
But the state was dispersing millions more of its welfare dollars, just not to families that urgently needed it. In court documents and audit reports, the state alleges that the head of Mississippi's welfare agency squandered more than $70 million intended for children in poverty, instead using it as a private slush fund to benefit his family and friends. Tens of millions of dollars on items like hiring retired pro wrestlers, first-class air travel, a horse ranch, and $5 million to build this women's volleyball facility at the University of Southern Mississippi. That building with ties to an NFL Hall of Famer. Brett Favre's daughter played volleyball at the university. Text messages obtained by Mississippi Today show Favre saying he helped secure government grant money for a new arena. And he personally was paid more than $1 million to give 3 motivational speeches that never happened. Favre declined to talk to NBC News, but his attorney says he has been questioned by the FBI. Favre says he never knew it was welfare money and paid it back after demands by state officials. Favre still owes $228,000 in interest imposed by the state auditor.
I wanted to at least collect the facts.
Former U.S. Attorney Brad Pygott was hired by the state to find the money.
How is Brett Favre getting money that's supposed to get kids out of poverty?
It's a mystery to us. Here we had tens of millions of dollars sent by the country to do the thing that we need done the most, and it was squandered.
In July, he issued a subpoena to get more answers about that volleyball arena, including any communications between the university and former Governor Phil Bryan, whom Pygott says directed the spending. Bryan says he was unaware that welfare money was involved.
What happened to you after you filed your subpoena?
I was terminated.
The state welfare agency says they fired Pygott because the client and the lawyer were not on the same page. The investigation has only recently resumed. Welfare agency head John Davis was arrested and charged with bribery and conspiracy. He pled not guilty. The agency declined an interview, saying they are committed to rebuilding the trust of the citizens and making all future grant decisions by committee. So far, just $1.1 million has been recovered.
We're real people. There's real people out there that really need that money.
For the news, I'm Ken Delanian.
Okay, so I'm going to be very petty because I do remember a few years ago, they were talking about black women getting benefits and trying to paint this welfare queen. And I'm not just talking about Dwight, Mr. Man. I'm talking about also black men. Talking about, the welfare is going to dry up for you. And they were laughing as if women would have to run back to them begging on bended knee for them to take care of them. So basically they can take advantage of women and have women as indentured servants, if not slaves. They had so much smoke for black women that get benefits, but I haven't heard anything about the white man. You know how they like to talk about the white man and everything the white man did. They're not talking about this. They're not going to paint Brett as a welfare queen. They're not going to paint the governor of Mississippi, Phil Bryant, a welfare queen. I don't see these videos being made and put out there anymore, but they were crying these little fake ass crocodile tears about black women getting an extra $50 to feed children. And you heard what the other white man, the reporter white man, said. This is for children. It's what I said in my video years ago. It's for children. The majority of the people who receive benefits are children. And people were talking about people scamming this, scamming that. In the years that I worked there, be it all of the claims of scamming was because people were calling in because they didn't get qualified and they were mad because the person they knew got qualified, but they didn't know that person's household, their income, or anything. I mean, this level of fraud, I've seen it myself. There was a case where this older couple were getting food stamps. They had, I know it was over $1 million in Roth accounts and things like that gain interest. But see, even though you have that money put away in those accounts, it doesn't count as income. So they were able to get food stamps while having all that money stored away. So yeah, this is a real thing. I wouldn't be surprised if this isn't going on in multiple states, in every state. People just would shame the working poor, mostly women, mostly children, for food. Regular people are using this for food. They're not off, that whole welfare queen, Cadillacs and diamonds and shrimp and lobster shit. Now we see buildings, trips, extravagant gifts, name brand, homes, acres. We see who the real welfare queen is, but they have the nerve to shame you because you're working 12 and 16-hour days and you're not even making enough because of their friends, because they're hooked up with the CEO, the COO, and everyone else that's a part of these corporations. Their friends stealing the money from the work of the people, not paying them a living wage, but they want to talk shit about you if you go get some benefits so you can feed yourself and your family and your fucking kids. Fuck them. If you can get some benefits, get them. Hey, do whatever you have to do. Because look at this. Nobody's talking about this. Nobody's putting this on display. Millions and millions of dollars taken out of the mouths of children for food, sustenance, so they can go party, so they can have shrimp and lobster cocktails and champagne. Don't dare go get benefits so you can have some steak or something. Oh no. And the amount that you get is nothing anyway, but I'm done being petty. Yes, in the state of Mississippi, $86 million, 90% of cases rejected, mostly children that are hungry, but they give a fuck about the children. The people, the residents there in Mississippi needed that money and they couldn't get it. It's supposed to be a safety net, and this safety net is for the medical treatment and also the care of children and people. But they wanted to party it up and live it up, taking money from the poor. Middle finger to the kids, middle finger to the poor. They don't care as long as it's not them. But Phil Bryan, the governor, they want to bypass him. I mean, the biggest thing is that a NFL former quarterback was involved, but they really need to focus on Phil Bryan. It seems like they don't even want to pursue this. And like I said, it's more heads that would be on the chopping block. That's why this is being blocked. And the auditor was fired. Nothing has been given back. $1 million recovered. That's it. Nobody has said anything about the money that Phil Bryan spent on himself, his wealthy friends, and his wealthy family. Then this asshole Favre gets a volleyball station built at Southern Miss where his daughter plays volleyball, but he had no idea. He's also given over $1 million to record nonprofit ads, which basically it was a way to push more money into the stadium project. But he wasn't involved. But when they got those text messages, basically it was showing between Favre and the governor, Phil Bryan. Basically, Bryan was telling him how to write up a funding proposal that would be accepted by Mississippi Department of Human Services. Yet they care so much about the children, and abortion is bad, but you're willing to take money out of kids' mouth so you can have some champagne. Like I said, if anybody ever tries to shame you or anything, if you're doing the shaming, you really need to shut the fuck up. Just shut up until you address this, until you address corporate welfare, until you address Walmart, Favre, Bryan. I don't want to hear anything about benefits, welfare queen, people on welfare. Go to hell. People are being pressed. People are not being paid for their labor. It was just announced that people who have worked their whole lives away and they're in retirement, we're going to get them back in the workforce. It's sick. This is sick. But I'll go ahead and leave it right here. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one.